Hi all, Pankaj here. So today we're going to talk about control access to object and field. So control access to object and fields are provided using profile and permission set. So now let's look into what is profile and what is permission set. A user's profile determines the object, fields and even apps they can access and the things they can do with any object records such as create, read, edit or delete, and with fields read and edit. Okay, that you know if you have checked the previous video. Okay. And now that's profile. Now what is permission sets? Permission sets just grant additional permissions and access setting to a user. Now a question might be coming in your mind, since with permission set we are just providing additional access, why can't we just provide it by editing profile? That we will look into with an example and you will have a clear view of this. Okay, for now just look into what are profiles and permission sets and what are the bifurcation between them. Okay. So next point says use profiles to grant the minimum permission and settings and that all users of a particular type need, and then use permissions to grant more permissions as needed. Okay. Now users can have only one profile but they can have multiple permission sets. Keep that in mind. And use profiles to provide permanent access and permission sets to provide a temporary access. These points are self-explanatory, but for clear view you require an example. So let's take an example. Suppose you have 10 users and to these 10 users you have assigned same profile. Now 5 out of this 10 require access to app A and other 5 require access to app A plus an app B. Now for that, like what we do in Salesforce is we just create 2 additional permission sets, one with the access for the app A and other with the access to the app A and B, and assign that to those users. That's simple. Now but if we try to do that with profile, what we have to do we have to create 2 profiles, one having the access to the app A, other have the access to both the app A and app B, and as well as delete the older profile. First point, that is too much work. Okay, creating 2 profiles and deleting one, and we need 2 profiles, and in our case we are just using 1 profile and just providing additional permission sets. So hope you are clear with this. Permission use profiles to grant the minimum permission and settings to all users, and then use permission set to grant more permissions as required or needed. Hope this point is clear. Now let's come into the last point, which says use profiles to provide permanent access and permission set to provide a temporary access. So now let's take an example. Suppose you are the system admin, okay, and you are off on a particular day, and there is a particular field that have access only to you, and it is required for certain work. Now since you are off, like who will operate it? For that, what you could do is you could provide a temporary access for the days that you are away on your holidays to your colleague, okay, and he could do the work. And when you come back, you just remove the permission and have the access to all by yourself. So in this scenario, you are just providing a temporary access to your colleague. So hope you are clear with this. So now let's take a case for it. Okay. So for the better understanding of profiles and permission set. So let's move on. So use case for this we are using is, let's suppose you are working for a company and you are going for a recruitment drive. Now the people you required for the recruitment are recruiters, hiring managers, interviewers and standard employees. Like these are the general employees. Okay, so what recruiters would do is, like recruiters need access to various things like the unique identity of a candidate. Other employees like hiring manager, interviewers and standard employee don't need to have access, and such that they have access to various other data. Okay, like that. So for that, it makes sense that we create a specific profile for a recruiter and give access to all those object, fields and apps that they need. That is one thing. Now when we come to hiring manager, all hiring managers need the similar accesses like reviews, candidates, position and job. So it makes sense that we create some user and assign these things as a permission set to a user. Okay, because they need few access only, similar access. All of them need similar accesses. So it's better we create one profile and then give access to that users only, like the users which are the hiring managers. That makes sense. Now when we come to interviewers, and the interviewer need access to certain fields only for a limited time base for the time the recruitment drive is going on. So it also makes sense to have a permission set. And also, as I told you, permission set is required for temporary access. Okay, and interviewers need temporary access. So you could relate with that. that we need a permission set here. Now we comes to the standard employees, the employees who are working in your office. Now for most employees there is a basic profiles, they need access to basic things. Like suppose let's take an example, they need access to fields, certain fields to apply attendance, or maybe for the reimbursement and all. These are the basic functions. So what we could do is just create a basic profile for the standard employees, because they don't need any other permissions and accesses, they just need the basic employee access that we could provide them. So with all this we could get one thing, that we need to create two profiles, one for recruiters and one for standard employees, and two permission set, one for hiring manager and one for interviewers. Okay, and the profile that is to be given to the user working as a hiring manager or interviewers would be a standard employee profile. We just need to create permission set for that and assign to that users. Hope these all make clear sense of you, what is a permission set, what is a profile, and how do we provide accesses to the object and fields. We will see that in our org. Hope it's clear. Move to the org and see how we create profiles, permission set, as well as how we create users. Okay, for now let's move to our org. So we are on our org. Let's move to the setup. I've already opened that tab. In the quick find, type profiles. So we will be creating profiles first. Yeah, go to the profiles. When you land on the profile page, you will see some existing profiles. These are all the profiles that comes with the Salesforce, since I haven't created any yet. Okay, so basically it is a list of all the profiles in the org, standard plus custom. Okay, so now let's create our new profile. Just click on new profile and you will find one thing, that to create a profile you need to clone it from the existing. You can't create it from the scratch. Now I have a pro tip for you. Whenever you are creating a profile, go with the standard user and don't go with the system admin. Why? Because standard user have limited access to things, so you will just be providing access to the things that you need. But if you go with the system admin, you will also be wasting your time in removing the access, since admin have all the access of the org. So that's why I suggest go with the standard user. You will just be giving the access to the fields you need, plus you will be saving your time instead of wasting on removing the access. So that's the pro tip. So let's standard user, let's name it test profile and save it. And our profile got created. Okay, there is already a profile with this name. Let's remove it. Let's say testing profile. Okay, so that's that simple. So our profile is created. So we are done with the profile. Now let's check how we give the access to the fields of an object. So for that, scroll down and you will have this field security column. Okay, there are this content, like when you click this view in front of the object, you will have all the fields of that object and you could provide the access that you want to provide. Let's say we click this view of the account and you will have all the fields of the account and the access you want to give, read access or the edit access. That's for the fields. Now let's check for the object. Okay, for that let's just move back and we will scroll down for the objects. Record type not yet. Yeah, these are the standard object and its permissions, like read, create, edit, delete, view all and modify all. View all and modify all I will explain you in a sec. Just give me a time, a little bit. So we go to the custom object permission here. These are the permissions of the custom object. Okay, now let's come to the view all and modify all. Now view all and modify all means, suppose if you select view all, say for the account, now the user with that profile will be able to access all the records of the object account, basically read all the objects of the account in your org with view all permission. Now when you click modify all, he will able to edit and view all the records of that particular object in your org. There will be no restriction. There will be no restriction on any particular record. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, now you must be feeling this user interface kind of cumbersome, like you have to scroll way down, way up, kind of result in wastage of time as well. But for that, what Salesforce have provided you is another user interface that is easy to use as compared to this one. So for that you need to activate that first. So for that you just type user management here. User management, yeah, this one, go to this and we will be enabling that. Yeah, this is the enhanced user interface that we need to enable. Just enable it and now go back to your profile. Okay, we are here on the profiles. Let's our profile name was testing user. Okay, testing profile. Yeah, just go this. So here you could see all the common things have been clubbed together. All the object settings like the access to the object and the fields have been clubbed together here, and all the apps permission have been clubbed here. Similarly, other things like flow access, custom permission, and all other things have been clubbed together. So it is kind of become easy to use. So let's do some object setting changes so that we could test it and learn it. Okay, so we have clicked to the object setting. Let's make some of the fields of the account read only. Okay, for that we will just click edit and we will go down here. Let's make annual revenue as read only. Okay, and as well as phone. This phone, yeah, we made it read only. So that's one thing. Save it, and now let's make some object invisible, say opportunities. Okay, so let's make opportunity invisible. Basically I mean read only. Opportunities. Yeah, it's loaded, took a little time. No issue on that. Just click edit and let's take away the read only permission for the object. As you could see, now it will not be visible to the user to which we are going to assign this profile. We save it. So we are done with the profile basically. So we are done with the objects and fields. Now let's do some changes with respect to the apps. Okay, click on the profile overview and go to the assigned apps and just click edit. So we could also we are here, so we could make an app visible or invisible by checking or unchecking these checkboxes. Let's remove some of the checkboxes. Okay, let's remove some of the apps. Okay, we want only limited number of apps to be visible. Let's remove some more. Okay, we have removed. Now this is another setting where we could set the default app. Basically when you log in for the first time, I am using that profile, that app will come as a default. So let's make the random as default that we created in the app video where we were designing apps. So let's select random. Okay, so we are done here. Let's save it. Now we have made our changes, but we also need to assign this profile to a user. So now let's see how we create users in Salesforce. For that, just type users. Click on the new user and let's provide the name. Let's say we call it Salesforce Hunter. Alias will auto get filled. Okay, email for that I provide this one that I created for the testing purpose. Name it hunter@gmail.com. Okay, Hunter Salesforce like this. Okay, and use that's the email. Sorry, that's the email. Okay, my bad. Username we need to provide below. Okay, so that's my bad. So that's the username. Here we provide the username. That's the email, and here is the username. So let it be Sales Hunter. Let it be Sales Hunter. Okay, username we provided. These are like optional, you could ignore. Now role is basically a role of an employee in the organization, whether he's a software engineer, CEO, manager, like that. So for that, let's select the director channel sales. Okay, for identity, user license is the similar license that you need, say, for driving a car. So similarly, to operate a org, or you need a license. Okay, like what are the license that comes, or what is the number of the license, that we could discuss in the coming video, as it depends on the org you purchase and many other things. So that could be discussed in the coming video. For now, just select the Salesforce as a user license, and for the profile that we created, testing profile, make sure it's active, and also make sure this box is ticked. Basically it will send a mail to this ID for creating the password. That is the purpose of this. So let's save it. So we have created our user Salesforce Hunter. So a mail will be here on this ID. Yeah, it's here. Let's reset it. Let's open it in another browser, maybe Edge. Okay, just copy it and we will open Edge, and let's open incognito mode here. Yeah, let's open the incognito and paste that here. Yeah, it's loading. So now let's reset our password here. The password, okay, and for the city, okay, it didn't match. Let me type it again. Okay, it's matched, and for the city it would be New Delhi. Let's save it, change password, and our user is created. So we have reset a password for the user, and you could see random is coming as a default tab that we selected here. Okay, and you could check the username here. It's a Salesforce Hunter. Okay, now let's go for the account object and check whether those fields are only read only or not. So for that we go to all accounts, and let's say open this one, the first one itself, remove it, and we have details, and now we have the phone feed. As you could see here, there is no edit button, so it is uneditable and only read only, and annual revenue is also not editable. That is one thing. And if suppose we try to create a new, even in that case it would not be editable, like you could not fill any value for that column, as you could see here. And annual revenue is also there. Yeah, so that is done. And also opportunities, we gave permission of read only, so it will not be available here. Opportunities, as you could see here, opportunities are not, so that you could see with the. So hope you are able to understand the profiles. Now let's create a permission set now and give this permission back that we took away. That way you will be able to understand the permission set as well. Hope you are able to understand how we create users. Okay, if you have any doubt, let me know in the comments, and you could always connect with me on LinkedIn, because I'm mostly active on LinkedIn. So no issue on that, you will get a fast response there. So now let's move back to that. Let's create some permission sets. For that you just type permission set in your quick find. Permission set. Yeah, so permission set is here. So permission sets, go to here, let it load, and let's create a new one. Okay, just create new. Okay, let's name it test pump, maybe test pump. Yeah, I have written test pump. And description no need. And for license you need to select Salesforce, because we selected Salesforce back there. So here is Salesforce, here it is. We save it, and every access is empty. Okay, it's already present. Let's say test pump. Okay, that's the issue, the label is already used. Test permission, it is Salesforce. Now it will work. So it got saved. Now you will see every access is empty inside this. Suppose we go to the object setting, and let's go to the accounts and click edit. As you can see, every access is empty. Which fields were read only? Annual revenue and phone. Now we want to give edit access to it. Just select edit, annual revenue is done, and where's phone? Yeah, we gave that access, and we just save it. So we are just creating extra permission for our user. So that's one thing. And now for the opportunity, we want to make it visible and as well as editable. So opportunities, let it load. So now we are here. Let's give the permission. Both edit, read will come together. Create, edit, delete. Let's give. Let's refrain from giving view all and modify all for now, and we save it. So we have given the extra permissions now. Permissions. Okay. Now we will assign it to our user, that is Salesforce Hunter that we created. So for that we go to the manage assignment. Yeah, add assignment, and select the user. User was Salesforce Hunter. Yeah, this one we selected and assign to it. So it got the extra permission it needs. Now we go back to our it will not be visible right now, because we need to log out and then log in. Even if we refresh it, let's say if with refresh, if it's visible, let's see. Yeah, with refresh it's visible, so no need to log out. Okay, so go to accounts, and you would be able to see these fields are back. No, it's not still that access is still not here for the total salary and other things, but opportunities is visible now. That is one thing. Let's try to log out and then log in. That way we will have proper sync. Okay, log out, and now let's log in again. What was the name? Let me copy the mail ID from the username. Yeah, username was sales center. Okay, copy it and then provide this one and let the password. Okay, it's logged in. Remind me later. So we have opportunities. We were checking for the accounts. Okay, let's see it's visible right now or not. Yeah, it's visible now. It's editable. So that's why I would suggest whenever you make certain changes in the profile or give certain permissions, that log out and then log in again for the proper sync up of everything. Yeah. So and annual revenue is also editable now. So hope you're clear with the profiles and permission set. Now let me give you some pro tips that would be helpful for you. First with the users. Okay. So let's go back. Now I'm going to show you here is, let's type users here. Now to tell you one thing, you can't delete a user. That's the first thing that you need to keep. You can't delete a user. You could inactive it so that the user will not be able to log in again. Okay, that you could do. Okay, so why it's not getting back to the user? Yeah, we are here in the users. Yeah, now the first pro tip I was giving is you can't delete a user. You can inactivate. That is one thing that you could do, that I have done with this user. As you could see, it's not active again. Yeah, and even this one. And also one thing you could do, suppose you have created a hierarchical relationship field. What is hierarchical relationship field is basically you have created a lookup between two users. In that case, that user is in use in the all. So in that case, you can't delete it directly, but you also want to restrict the login for that user. In that case, what you could do is you could freeze that user. Let me show you what I mean. That let me open it. Yeah, here is a freeze. By freeze, you just restrict that user from logging in, and you could also unfreeze it. Yeah, that is one thing you could do with freeze is and unfreeze. Now what's the difference between freeze and the inactive? So when you make that user inactive, that license that you use, you can use it for another user that you're gonna create. But if you freeze it, that user license is still not free. You need to inactivate to get that user. Okay, that is one thing you could do here. So hope you're clear with it. Now another pro tip now with the profile of Salesforce admin. You know that a Salesforce profile have access to edit all the read-only fields, and you can't modify it. But when you clone a Salesforce profile, you could deactivate that application. How? Let me show you what I mean. Go to the profiles. Basically, the admin will be able to edit even the read-only fields, but you could remove this permission when you clone from the system admin. That you could do. Let's go to it's system admin. It will be present here. System admin here. So what I mean here, to check it, how you inactive and how you could check it, you just scroll down, go to the system permission, and scroll down, it would be here, edit read only fields. Yeah, here as you could see, you can't edit it, but if you clone it, you could remove this permission. Because of this permission, system admin will always have the access to even the read only fields. So that's from my side. Hope you are able to understand profile and permission set. See you in the next video.